Welcome to the No Risk It, No Biscuit podcast with BA and Melanie.
Let's go. First 5 minutes now. Let's go. Set the tempo.
As far as goals go, we have one. Putting the ring on our finger.
This is the ultimate team game. Now, that's the beauty of football.
Well, welcome to the No Risk It, No Biscuit podcast with BA and Melanie. And Coach, you called me up this off season and you said, what do you think about hosting a podcast with me? And I said, absolutely. Where do you want to go with it? What do you want to talk about? And I remember you said to me, we'll just shoot the shit.
Yeah, we'll just shoot the shit, find some interesting topics and let them fly. And my son Jake kind of ran with it, and here we are.
Yeah.
And looking forward to it.
We got plenty to shoot the shit about.
Yes,
First
we
of
do.
all, I need to know where No Risk It, No Biscuit came from. Where did that originate for you? Talk me through that slogan.
Yeah, it really became a lifestyle. One of my younger coaches, young days, in a playbook had the poem "If" by Rudyard Kipling.
Yeah.
And it basically, you can't be afraid to throw your hat in the ring. Don't stand on the sideline and watch. And that kind of stuck with me. And as I played and then started coaching, I wasn't good enough to do a lot of that as a player. But as a coach, it's like, you can't, and even in golf and in life, you can't hit a great shot if you don't try one.
Right.
You know, Tim Cup is like one of my favorite movies. Like, just keep hitting. You'll get it over the water sooner or later.
Yeah.
All right. And so it's like, yeah, that's kind of led into my coaching. You know, yeah, we can throw a 5-yard check down, but we can also throw a go ball on 3rd and 1. You know, just take what's there, but don't ever be afraid to throw that thing down the field. And all the quarterbacks I've had, they kind of like that.
Yeah, I'm sure they do. And in those moments, is it more of a feel thing for you? Because you're not a big analytics guy, so kind of take me through how that goes for you in those moments.
It's just, it's a gut feeling, but I mean, you have to study. I mean, you know, people don't realize how much time goes in. I have to laugh when, you know, you go, oh, you should go for it on 4th and 1. Well, did you sit in the room for 30, 40 minutes and watch 300 plays of short yardage and goal line this week? We can't block these guys.
So much more goes into that.
Yeah, but it was 3rd and 2. We got a half. You want me to go for the other 1.5? You know? No, I don't. It makes no sense to me. Now, I know what analytics are.
Yeah.
Right-hand batter can't hit a curveball. I'm going to put a curveball pitcher in there. That's analytics. But
Right.
for football, for that, I don't know where it fits. Now, you can go back in the history of time and say numbers do this. Numbers don't play. Mm-hmm. People play, all right? They don't know if the right guard's hurt, if that guy's kicked his ass the whole game, and the left guard's got a bad knee. So, but other times, you just grit your teeth and say, yeah, we're going for it, you know?
So is there a moment when you look back over your entire career and you look at all the ballsy play calls, is there one no risk it, no biscuit call that stands out to you?
Yeah, I think one for sure, because I knew the head coach, great defensive mind. It's 3rd and 8, minute left in the game. We make first down, game's over. Mm-hmm. Everybody runs and punts. So I asked our head coach, what do you want to do? He said, hey, go for it. I said, I'm throwing the ball now. I had a great quarterback, great receiver. They bring everybody up. We ran a little play action pass, first down, kneel down. It happened to be the AFC Championship.
Oh my goodness. So what happened from there?
We knelt down and won. So that kind of, as an offensive coordinator, I always thought that was my job. Never put the defense back on the field.
Yeah.
You know, just get it. Now, one of them backfired. I'm in Alabama. We're playing Auburn in the Iron Bowl. Big. I'm still known as the guy that did it. 3rd and 4, minute left. Asked the head coach, what do you want to do? No answer. All right, what do you want to do?
No answer in the headset.
No, he didn't wear a headset, so I'm asking Dabo. Dabo's on the headset. Dabo, what's he want to do? So I call a play. We complete a little screen pass, and we fumble. It's not an interception. We fumbled. We could have fumbled if we ran the ball.
Yeah.
Auburn wins. I get fired. I said, okay, it's worth it.
Yeah.
It's worth it. I just happen to become Peyton Manning's quarterback coach the next year.
Oh, casual. So when they don't work out, does that give you pause, like down the line when you go to make
No, because there's another great poem, and I hung this on the wall at Temple, The Man in the Glass. All right, if you read that poem, the only person you got to ever answer to is the one in the mirror.
Yep.
And we build our team with the words trust, loyalty, respect. The trust part is being able to trust that guy in the mirror. You can't trust anybody else, so you trust him.
100%. Yeah. You brought up Peyton Manning, and I'm curious, you've coached so many good quarterbacks over the years. When you have the debate of best of all time versus greatest of all time, where do you sort of rank your guys that you've coached? What categories would you put them in?
So much of it, everybody wants to say he's got these rings. Well, this is the ultimate team game.
Yeah.
Now, that's the beauty of football. It's not a pitcher throwing a no-hitter or Kareem Abdul-Jabbar just wearing everybody else because they can't guard him. It takes 22,
Right.
And so to say it's just rings, Tom Brady's a great player,
Right.
Great player, but he was on a great team. Peyton Manning was a great player, and the team got better, and that was one of the greatest duels I just loved being a part of. Like Carson Palmer, if you're going to build somebody to look like our quarterback, it's Carson Palmer.
He's the prototype.
Yeah, he's the best deep ball thrower. Ben, if you put everybody together, some guys have to have every rock
Sure.
unturned before the game.
In order
Every
to
question.
be great.
Ben was just the opposite. You could overload him. Don't overload him. Just let him play. And we always had to blast because I'd write a script like everybody, first 15. I think sometimes he sabotaged me because we would have a bet who would score first when he was calling plays or when I'm calling plays. But his always
That's how you know the chemistry is good between you and the quarterback.
Look, dude, you always get to go no huddle.
Yeah.
Yep. So, and that's when he was his best. But Andrew Luck was an amazing young player when I had him, and Timmy Couch. Gosh, Timmy Couch was a great player. Just got broken up. I mean, Timmy was sacked 120 sometimes his first 2 years.
Yeah. 2 minutes left in the game. Come from behind. What quarterback that you've coached do you want in there for you?
I'm gonna piss a bunch of them off.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna say Andrew Luck because of what he did as a rookie. I mean, we won 7 out of the 11 in the last 2 minutes, and he's playing with 5 other rookies on offense. And it was just his command and his poise and his grit. I mean, we got to a playoff game, but we didn't get to the big game. In the big game, I'm taking Ben because I've been in the big game with Ben.
Just how he
and
handles the pressure.
We went 92 yards, and people didn't realize he only had 2 receivers he could throw to. Nate Washington had a separated shoulder, and Hines' knee was gone. So he could only throw it to Santonio or Heath Miller,
Yeah.
And so he said Santonio gets MVP, all right, because he just keeps throwing it to him. But, they're all great. Mm-hmm. I didn't realize Tommy, his first game to have to get a touchdown in the last 2 minutes was with the Bucks.
Wow.
He got a bunch of field goals. It was the first time he had to go get a touchdown when he hit Cyril Grayson down the sideline. But
what was that conversation like with Tom in the moment?
Hey, dude, just what do you want?
Yeah.
What do you want? Tell me what you want. Like all those plays I'd have on that sheet, every quarterback had the right to scratch them off.
Sure.
I'm never calling a play that you don't like. And so you put them in that moment, and this is where the accountability comes in. All right, this is you own this now.
Right.
All right, so it's yours. And hey, give me these 3 to start with, and he'll see how they're playing it. And Tom and Peyton were those guys that once they saw coverages, they knew exactly how to attack it.
Yeah.
It's like you want to win that chess match.
As a coach, that must make your job easy.
Oh God, I was a great coach when I had those guys. I sucked when I didn't have them.
Right.
Yeah, you got to be a good coach with Ben and Tom and Peyton and Andrew and Carson and Timmy, all those guys. And I'll throw Kelly Holcomb in there too because God and Mom and Dad made those other guys.
Uh-huh.
I kind of helped make Kelly a little bit, and Kelly's still one of my favorite all time. Every time he'd get a chance to play, he'd throw for 400.
Wow.
I mean, he was just a great guy.
What about his skill set set him apart?
Accuracy. And everybody wants to say, this guy has the strongest arm. It has nothing to do with velocity. It's all about accuracy.
It's accuracy. It's ball placement.
Now, if you have some velocity and accuracy, especially down the field, for me, it's down the field. Mm-hmm. I'm not a dink and dunk guy. So, and all those guys were great deep ball.
Yeah.
Not afraid to throw it down the field.
You mentioned Andrew Luck, and I just think his story is so interesting because obviously no one was expecting his abrupt retirement. Were you?
I was shocked.
Yeah, we all
I know
were.
how much he loved the game.
How's he doing?
He's doing fantastic. I was up at Chuck Strong event not too long ago, and he brought Lucy over as this cute little girl, and we sat out in the parking lot just talking, and he is so happy. I'm so happy for him too. I mean, he made the right decision for him,
for himself,
and 4 years of rehabbing and never leaving the facility, that will wear you out.
Do you think that's what it was for him?
I don't think there's any doubt. The other part of his life that Andrew's so smart, and he's got so
smart.
many things going on, he wasn't able to do, and travel and just stuck in the training room all the time.
Yeah. Take me back to 2012 in Indianapolis. Just walk me through that year. What stands out in your memory about that year?
Oh, God, there's so many things. I mean, I'm here at the lake.
Yeah.
We're on our open date, and Chuck left early on Thursday. So I thought maybe he shot out on vacation, right? And I get a call, and it's Chuck. I said, dude, what's up? He says, I'm in the hospital. I said, wait a minute. So I went in Thursday. I have leukemia.
Oh, my God.
I'm like, I almost fall off the porch.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just.
What a call to get.
And it's like, Mr. Irsay wants you to take over, and there'll be a team meeting. They're not going to let me out of this hospital until I'm in remission. And I'm like, oh. So I'm getting on the plane. I'm looking up the type, and I'm like, oh, this is bad. Wow. And I was more worried for him than the football team. But Chuck's a dear friend. And Mr. Irsay gets up in front of the team. The doc gets up, and he explains what he has. And Bruce is going to take over. And I would never let them say head coach. Chuck's seat on the bus was never sat in. His locker was fixed up every Sunday. I never dressed in there because I wasn't the head coach.
Wow.
I was just taking over, going for it on 4th and 1 and giving some shitty speech on Saturday night. Because Chuck's an orator. I'm like, hey, boys, let's go kick their ass. Let's go.
Yeah.
And then Jim gets up and says, we're going to beat the Packers. We're going to take this game ball to Chuck in the hospital. And I just, shit, you had to put that on me?
The gravity of that. I have chills.
Literally, Tuesday night, I'm doing the game plan, and I get a panic attack.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm having
First one ever?
Yeah, only one ever.
Yeah.
It's like, I was scared shit. I called for Swim. Hey, Swim, go get the trainer. And it subsides. And Jake had come in town. And, it's one of those games. We're down 21-3. And we had practiced really good that week. Really good. And going to halftime, look, here's what's going to happen. And once before I'd done this, and it's against Penn State.
You just had to throw that in there.
It was like, Pat's going to kick it out of the end zone. We're going to get a turnover. We're going to go score and flip this whole thing around. Pat kicks it in the end zone. Gerard Powers turns the whole season around, picks off Aaron Rodgers. Andrew takes us in. And now it's a dogfight, get down to the last drive. And this is another great Andrew Luck story. I think it might have been Clay Matthews. He gets hit on a sack so hard. We completely miss a guy coming off the edge. And I said, oh, he's down. He gets up and says, nice hit, dude.
Come on.
That's him. That's Andrew. And
always patting guys on the back.
He takes us down, hits Reggie. Reggie gets the ball in, and we win the damn game. I just sat on the bench and started crying.
I'm sure you were just overcome with emotion at that point.
It was just so emotional. Yeah, it was beyond that. But get in the locker room, I can't say a word. I'm just stuck. And Jim taking the game ball down to Chuck, and it was like 1,000-pound weight came off of me.
I can only imagine.
And then we get on this crazy roll. If we can just keep it tight, Andrew's going to win it.
Yeah. And
we keep rolling. We go out to Kansas City. If we beat Kansas City, we go to the playoffs. And Jamal Charles is running up and down. I think he's got 200 yards at halftime.
Gosh, Jamal
I look
Charles.
over at Greg Minuski, our defensive coordinator. I said, Minuski, can we just slow him down? He says, hell no, look who's out there. The one defensive tackle got here this Tuesday. The other one got there last Tuesday. And I don't even know the other guy's name. All right? Gosh. True story. He gets a sack. I said, who is that? Jamal Westerman. So he comes, Joel, great job, buddy. And why in the hell they threw the ball? It's like they're down there in that 15-yard line, and they throw it. We intercept it. Andrew wins the game. We're in the playoffs.
Oh, my God.
I mean, this team had no business winning any games. But I always said, you give professional athletes a cause to play for.
Yeah.
And we never said 1, 2, 3 win. It was everything 1, 2, 3 Chuck. And these guys, it was really cool because Chuck finally gets out. He wasn't supposed to be. He sneaks in at practice. This is in probably November, December. We had like 8 guys that never met Chuck. Because we had 13 or 14 guys on IR. Mm-hmm. Is that coach? Is that coach? Yeah, that's him. The guys go crazy, man. They all go see him. And it's like, yeah, this was so special. Wow. And then I get sick and miss the playoff game.
Yeah, what happened there?
Oh, God, they still can't tell me what I got. You know, I think it was just the stress of the year.
I'm sure, just overwhelming.
And I'm getting vertigo, blood pressure goes crazy. And we're in Baltimore, and pregame meal, the room starts spinning. Doc comes over. I just been in Thursday night for the same thing, and they did every test known to man.
Oh my gosh.
No problem Friday, no problem Saturday. And he thinks I'm having a stroke. I said, Doc, we did this test. You know, he's going across, and my eyes start twitching. I said, if you put me in the hospital, they're not going to let me out. Sure enough, across the street, go to University of Maryland Hospital, they ain't let me out. And they roll a TV up and let me watch the game with my blood pressure like 250 over.
They're trying to kill your wife.
Yeah. But this is one of the reasons I love Jim Irsay. First thing Jimmy wanted to know was Chris at the game, my wife. Oh. And they said, no. He said, go get a limo, call up a limo, get the other plane, get her here. She was in the hospital in less than 2 hours. And we stayed there for 3 days waiting, and the plane just waited for us to get us back to Indy. I mean,
says a lot about
Jimmy's the best.
Yeah.
Jimmy's the best.
So from there, I mean, at this point, you're a hot coaching candidate. But you're sick. So where do things go from there?
Yeah, I mean, I had 7 interviews lined up. I was the coach of the year.
Yeah.
And I go to Chicago because they had put the paperwork in first. Mm-hmm. And we're there 2 days. They call me at 2 o'clock in the morning. We're going to hire Mark Trestman. I go down next morning. All the rest of the interviews have been canceled, you know, except Arizona. And it's like, I can't do that one. Kenny Wisdom, dear friend.
Yeah.
All right, and Russ Grimm and Rachie and all the guys that are out there that we won a Super Bowl with in Pittsburgh, I got to let go.
Gosh.
Because I already had the staff set up to take to Chicago. And I called Kenny. He said, no, bro. You and Michael get along fine. You need to take. You deserve. He
wanted you to take it.
Yeah, he said you deserve this. Yeah, and that was it. I had to let those guys go. Man, that was hard.
I'm sure.
That was very hard.
Something that I think is so cool about you is you've never fired or demoted an assistant. What's your philosophy behind that? And
really, probably learned it from Coach Bryant.
Yeah.
You know, I hired you. It's my job to make you better.
Huh.
All right. And if you're not doing your job, I got to fix it. Mm-hmm. I'm not just going to throw you away to save my face or not get fired. Now, I've been fired a couple of times, so somebody else got to keep their job. You know,
sure.
So, but no, it just was not in my makeup. And I think I learned it from Coach Bryant. And he might reassign you, but you never lost a job.
Yeah, so you might move around.
Yeah, he'd give you a raise and move you over here. You know, and the best coach I've ever known.
Yeah. Tell me more about him.
Oh, God, every day was special. I mean, every day you go to work, he could read people. People thought Coach had lost it because he was up there. We played 66 players in every game. He substituted every player. Wow. We played 3 quarterbacks, 10 running backs. We're playing Kentucky, and we're losing, and we're supposed to be killing them. Mm-hmm. Late in the fourth quarter, he sends in the 4th-string running backs. I'm in the practice box going to Mal, what are we doing? What are we doing? Put Joe Carter and Lenny Patrick in there. He knew better. He wouldn't even answer, right? One of them makes a great catch. The other makes a hellacious block. We get out to about the 20. Here come the horses. So we go down and score. Never question. And Coach, we'd always walk around the hotel, and he'd give us a lineup. And I'm a smart ass. So, Coach, why? You coach him, I'll line him up. You coach him, I'll line him. I said, yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And so we would grade the film every Monday. You come in or Sunday morning. How the line play, how the receivers play, how the running backs play. Coach, we fumbled. We did. He had a cigarette. Did you even watch the goddamn film? I don't think you know how to grade a goddamn film. Well, it'd be hot. I mean, burning.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Staff meeting's over. I walk in his office. Coach, how you want these bitches graded? You're doing fine. You're doing a good job. No, sir. You're doing next week. Oh, Coach, we ran for 400, blocked well. What about that play Lenny Patrick did? That's probably the only bad play. I don't think you know how to fucking grade a film. All right, this goes on for like 4 weeks.
Oh my gosh.
So finally I walk in, I said, Coach, how the fuck do you want these guys graded? He looked at me and said,
Sir.
and I'm hot now. It's like, you're doing a hell of a job. Get the fuck out of here. And he never did it again.
Wow.
It was just a test. He was testing me to the core.
I bet he
and,
was.
I wasn't backing off.
Did you know in the moment, though, that you were being tested, or it took a little bit to figure it out?
No, I didn't know what the hell was going on. It took me a little while.
Yeah.
But then as soon as he stopped, I'm like,
with
oh, okay. Because I was smart. I thought I knew everything.
Yeah.
I really did. I thought I was cocky as shit. And next thing I know, I get a chance to interview for a head coaching job at 30.
Wow.
And he said, you want to be a head coach? I said, yes, sir. That's my goal. He said, you might not never get another chance. You better go get this one. And it's a funny story how I got the Temple job.
Uh-huh.
I'm down in Tampa recruiting, all right? Howard Tip is a good friend. I knock on the back door, their old shitty facility they used to have, and he's waiting for me. And Jimmy Gruden, John's dad, was there, and we're talking. He says, Howard goes, hey, you should get this guy the Temple job. He looks at me, you want to be the head coach at Temple? His buddy was the head of the search committee, Dr. Michael Jackson, great guy. I said, sure. He said, he calls him, he said, man, Friday is like the last day to apply.
Yeah.
I don't have a resume. I send him a program. I call Chris, hey, put this in the mail, send it to this guy, and I get an interview. I'm just thinking, man, if I get a head coach interview, I got a chance. All of a sudden, I'm in the Final Four. And we go to the Liberty Bowl. The only other time I feared losing. The Packers game with Andrew, with that game ball thing, and Coach Bryant's last game. There's no way in hell we can lose Coach Bryant's last game. And Illinois was loaded, and we beat them somehow. It was freezing ass cold, but we beat them. And after the game, what's going on with that job? And I said, Coach, I heard him in the Final Four. We're back in the office, and all of a sudden he whistled. He come whistling down the hall, stick his head in. You want that job? I said, yes, sir. You got it. They called. They finally called.
Wow.
And yeah, he was so special. And I love telling the story of my friend Steve Hale.
Uh-huh.
Steve and I came in together. He came from Clemson. We're both young coaches. And Ken Donahoe, legendary defensive coordinator, we're at Georgia Tech. He hollers down to Steve, get Jim Bob out there and put Tommy in. He sends him in the game, right? Every coach said, oh shit. And the coach had that big manila folder. And he walked down, put his arm around him. Son, do you like your job? Yes, sir, coach. Boom! He hits him, it doubles him over. He says, you ever put another damn player across that sideline, you ain't gonna have one. Yes, sir, coach. So the game is going, that's a tight game. And Ken says something to him. He says, Coach, you want to put him in, you bring your ass down here, put him in yourself. I ain't putting nobody in the game. That's a respect. That man was amazing.
Wow. I'm sure you took away so many things from your time with him, but what would you say is the biggest takeaway or just something that you took with you going forward in your coaching career?
I think what you said earlier, his job was to make us all better, you know, and I just took that with me for the rest of my time as a coach. You know, there was some owners that wanted me to fire some people.
Yeah.
No, I'll make them better. I hired them. I hired them for a reason. They're damn good. Now, they might not have the players we should get for them.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll fix that too, but we ain't firing nobody. You know, that's family.
Yeah.
And if you know me, family's big.
Absolutely. I know that for sure with you. Switching gears just a little bit, I'm curious on how you handle, I won't name names, but when you have a number of different receivers on your team, some are more diva-ish than others, what goes into your game planning to try and take care of your receivers? How do you kind of handle?
Yeah, I think, again, a lot goes with the quarterback too, but when you're scripting those plays, they're reading that script. All right, so in the top 5 plays, I'm trying to get them 3 targets. All right, the ones that it matters to.
Yeah.
All right, and they'll look at it. Oh, okay, coach, take care of me now. Quarterback's got to
They're
throw it to him,
feeling
right?
good.
But I did my job.
That's not your problem if he doesn't go your way.
All
Yeah.
right? So it's like, all right, throws it to somebody else. I come to the sideline. Hey, I'm gonna call a screen. Just throw him the damn ball. I don't care if we gain a yard. All right, and
Just get him back in the game a little bit.
get him back in the game, and because most of those guys were our lead blocking receivers too. They were just great players. They'll all be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And but watching Larry Fitzgerald go from just a split receiver to playing in the slot and probably becoming the next Hines Ward as a blocker. All right, it wasn't easy.
I'm sure
It wasn't easy.
How'd you get him there?
And Larry, we had a come to Jesus meeting one
Yeah?
day.
Tell me about it.
And Larry he had a couple of bus assignments, and I snapped on him on the field, right in front of the owner in the gym. I mean, I'd lose it. And the rest of the team was, holy shit, he talking to Larry like that. Larry's never been talked to like that. Yeah. Larry takes it great. I mean, he takes it great. And we start every morning with what I call the accountability sheet.
Okay.
Every mental error, every penalty that happened in practice goes up in front of the team.
So is Fitz just having too many mental errors?
Fitz was on the sheet, right?
Yeah.
I don't think Fitz was on there for the next 4 years.
Wow.
I said, we fixed it. We're good. All right. And the guys, the really good players, they don't like being on that sheet.
I'm sure.
Because I would have the laser. If you were up like 4, I put your number 4 in a row.
Yeah.
Especially the young guys. We get in training camp, and I said, dude, you really think you're going to make this team? All right. Bucks don't beat Bucks. Number one. We can't beat the other team if we're beating ourselves. Exactly. And this sheet is all about winning. Stop beating us so we can beat the other damn team. All right. And there's some good stories on some guys that argued. I didn't miss them. Well, you want to get the film back out.
Yeah.
You got to take me off that sheet.
Oh my gosh. So we're down here on your gorgeous lake in Georgia, and I know Ben has a place down here. How did that happen?
Yeah, I came down right after Super Bowl and bought the house. Okay. And Ben would stop by the house. We played a lot of golf together. When he came over, we were having a beer. And I got the map out on the table. He said, "What's this?" I said, "That's that place I told you about." I said, there's 6 golf courses? I said, "Yeah, there's 6 golf courses." I said, "I'm on this one right here. I live right here." He goes, "When are we going?" I said, "Shit, you got the plane."
We'll warm it up.
Yeah, so let's go. So he said, "Next Friday." I said, "Next Friday." He already did his homework, man. He was on whatever the website that was, and he picked his house out and bought it. And yeah, we have had a blast down here for years.
And so he's still down here?
Oh yeah, he's here. Yeah. He was here this week with the kids, and him and Benjamin go out every morning. They get the first tee time. I said, "Dude, I can't get up there anymore and play. That's way too early for me."
Is Benjamin pretty good?
Great story.
Yeah.
They go up to Cleveland. Ben caddies for him. Aww. He wins the tournament. Ben tweets out, "Typical day in Cleveland. Roethlisberger wins."
I bet he heard it from Cleveland fans for that.
He put it out everywhere. That was great.
What's your best Ben story down here?
Oh yeah, we have so many.
I'm sure you've had some good times down here.
We have this little match with some guys from Pittsburgh, and it's $100 a hole, 2-man scramble. And they're kicking our ass, and it starts raining.
Oh no!
After 4 or 5 holes, and they've won damn near every hole. We go in. I said, "Look, dude, you hit first. You can beat them by yourself. Because what's happening? I'm hitting it down the middle, and you're trying to kill us, son, bitch. You just go beat them by yourself. If you miss, I'm gonna be in the middle. All right, now we'll be way behind it, but I'll be in the middle." Oh, we go out and we flip this thing, and win like 10 straight holes, and we go back in the bar. And he's over chuckling, and I said, "Yeah, we had to make a little coaching decision, a little strategy." And these 2 guys, "Fuck that coaching shit."
Sure you did.
He just kicked our ass. I said, "You didn't do shit." I said, "I made a little coaching decision. That's what you got to do." And that was one of our favorite times.
Golf stories are the best.
Oh yeah.
What's your biggest pet peeve on the golf course? What's like an etiquette thing that just pisses you off?
Having to hit out of a divot in the middle of the goddamn fairway. Now, we have a rule at Old Memorial, the owners have, you don't have to do that. So I just take that everywhere I go.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing worse than
divot.
being in a non-sand-filled divot in the middle of the fairway, and there's no other divots around. I mean, they should change that rule on the tour.
For sure.
I mean, it's stupid.
There are so many things on a golf course that I can't stand.
Especially in the tournaments when, after the 4th day, the balls are all landing in the same spot. You see it on TV, there's divots everywhere, and they say, "Please don't get it." Now, they know how to hit it out of it, and their caddies do a great job of fixing it,
Yeah, I had some friends in town recently and took them to this beautiful course in Nashville that I belong to. And we warmed up on the range for about 45 minutes, and we tee off on the first hole. And we're like pulling up to the balls in the middle of the fairway. And I look down at one of the balls, and it says practice on it. I go, who the hell is playing a range ball? One of my friends did not want to go buy a sleeve of balls, so he put a pocket full of range balls in his pocket. He's playing a damn range ball on this course. I'm like, you're going to get us kicked off this course.
What's even better? when they take the blue line and right through the practice,
Yes.
like they put the marker.
Like, oh, nope,
I
it's
found
my
about
ball
20
now.
of them out here before. Like, okay, I'm gonna catch this one.
Oh, man. Who is your favorite player you've ever drafted?
Oh, Tyrann Mathieu.
Wow, you were quick with that
Yeah,
answer.
yeah, I mean,
Honey Badger.
I got kicked out of high school, and a coach stuck with me. I got dropped by everybody recruiting me, except one guy. And he lied to the head coach, said I transferred to get better math classes. All right, and I believe in second chances. You know, it changed my whole life. You know, then another guy comes in. My 5th year, I'm done with football. I'm trying to graduate. I interviewed for 2 junior high jobs and didn't get them, or I would have never came back. So Terry Don Phillips, God bless him. You got to meet the new coach. I said, dude, I'm done. No, you got to meet the new coach. It was Jimmy Sharp from Alabama. They had just beaten us 77-6, and he took this job. And I mean, I got long hair, beard. I sprained my ankle playing basketball. I'm up about 15 too many pounds, right? And I walk in. You're the quarterback? Maybe, you know. And I sit in his office for 3 hours. I mean, we bonded. I told him what I thought of it was wrong, how to help, whatever. He said, you need to come back out. So he's like, make a deal with you. Give me 10 days. After 10 days of spring practice, if you can't help us, I'll get you a high school job. Okay, cool.
Yeah, fair.
All I got to lose is like 20 pounds.
Sure.
So we go out, and these guys had been running. Back then, winter workouts used to be just torture.
Yeah, grueling.
These guys have been running for a month. We had like 6 stations. I get through the second one, I'm done. And I had talked 5 of my buddies who had 5th year to come out. And I'm looking around, he's watching me, right? And they blow the whistle to go to the next one. I'm about to head out the door. He says, come here, kneel down. Your friend said, they're all gone. He said, meet them at Carlisle's later, because I was a bartender at Carlisle's the whole time. And I sat there. So you think you can make it through the last station? Yeah. He did every day until I could make it.
Wow.
And went back in his office. And one of our best players had just given it up. And I walk in. He said, not you too. I said, no, sir, you told me to come back. He said, you're our starting quarterback. You're our starting quarterback unless you break your leg. And started all those games and got the MVP that year.
My gosh. So.
And he started me in coaching.
Wow. That's really cool.
People don't remember the old world football league, the Birmingham Vulcans. George Meyer was their quarterback. George Meyer was the old Colt. I mean, I'm a huge Colts fan. And I'm going to go back him up. And Jimmy's from, he said, look, I know about that league. He said, I don't know if those guys are going to make payroll. You're going to be a hell of a coach. I don't know if you're going to make it, but you're going to be a hell of a coach. Make a decision. So I went to grad school, started coaching, and the next year I get offered the quarterback job at East Carolina for Pat Dye.
Wow.
For $6,000. I'm jacked. All right. He said, you ain't going. Pat and Jimmy are best friends. Best friends. He said, you ain't going to work with him. You're staying here. I said, Coach, we don't have any spots. He said,
I'll make one.
I'm going to hire Chris as a secretary. She's going to make $7,000. And she don't have to come to work.
Done deal.
And she don't even have to come to work. I said, all right, I'll stay.
Yeah, that wasn't tough.
And I mean, we had an unbelievable staff. Charlie Pell, Danny Ford, Buddy Bennett. I mean, it was a great, Nelson Stokely, all, great coaches. And Charlie leaves, goes to Clemson, and then Danny goes, and I get a full-time job. Oh, $10,000. Went out and bought a house, had a baby, and got fired. Welcome to coaching.
Went out, had a baby, got fired.
We had a great old equipment manager, Luke Linden from Kentucky. Yeah, boy, so I heard you're going to be a coach, huh? Let me give you some advice. Build your house on wheels.
Smart.
I only moved her 20 times.
Gosh, that has to be so hard as a coach. Back to Tyrann. What was it that you saw in him that made you...
He owned it.
Yeah.
He owned it. He didn't try to blame anybody else for his problems. Because I did it. I love this game. I'll not do anything to ever make me forfeit this game again. And it was.
And he hasn't.
You should see it in his heart. He's a great kid.
He's awesome.
And he had a plan. So, we get to the third round, and I look at Steve Cotton. I said, dude, we got to take him now. He's a first rounder. All right. And look what he's done.
When did you start to notice him turning into such a leader?
First week.
Yeah.
First week, guys just gravitated to him, and he's so smart. And we had Patrick Peterson, Gerard Powers, and a couple other dudes that just doing great, right? He took over.
Huh.
He's making calls, he's doing this, and he's making plays. He's picking shit off and say, oh, he's instant.
And the older guys were fine with it.
They saw it right away. When
they
the
knew
older
he was
guys
for
know
real.
you're going to help us win, they make sure you're doing the right thing.
Huh.
And that's, again, that goes back to Jerome Bettis. To me, the greatest teammate I've ever seen. All right, he taught Willie Parker to take his job. And that was kind of a Steeler thing.
Yeah.
Veteran player would take a younger player knowing he's probably going to take your job in a year or two.
Yep. Give him the tools.
And one of the greatest moments I've ever been a part of, when the Steelers got introduced to come out in Super Bowl 40 in Detroit, everybody stayed behind and let Jerome go. It was his hometown.
Wow.
And it was so special because he is a special human being.
He is. Who would you say is the most impactful player that you've ever coached?
Probably Peyton.
Yeah.
I mean, what he did, we were terrible. God almighty. And, we go 3-13, and he had all the interceptions, but he flipped that whole organization by himself, his work ethic and everything he did. He changed. That's why there's that big statue out in front of that stadium right now, and it's well-deserved.
Yeah. When you, as a guy that has coached quarterbacks for so long, you've seen so much. I'm curious, currently in the NFL, one of the biggest storylines is Russell Wilson and the year that he had last year in Denver. Now they've got Sean Payton. Is Sean the guy that can turn things around with Russ? And what do you see with Russell Wilson right now that you think is maybe holding him back and how he can fix things?
And it's always hard. When you come out of a system for so long and you learn a new system, it's hard. I don't care who you are. But this is happening a lot now with these real athletic quarterbacks. That's the thing. Athletic quarterbacks, once that first knee injury happens, that first hip injury happens, you lose a step. And then sacks start coming, and you can't make those plays that you've made. But to your point, Sean is the guy to fix it. Sean is a great coach. One of the guys I respect the most in this business. And we go way back when he was young at the Giants and in the Eagles, If anybody can get him right and put him in a system, because Sean will build a system around Russ. He won't ask Russ to do things he can't do. He'll make sure everything.
That's what Russ needs.
And fit it to him. And I think Denver could be a surprise team this year.
So for you, do you prefer a pocket passer then, as opposed to a mobile guy like a Jalen Hurts or a Michael Vick or Lamar Jackson?
A passer over a runner.
Always.
Now, start there. Now, if you can run, that helps. Like Ben could get away. Now, Ben wasn't fast, but Ben could get away.
Yeah.
Andrew was amazing because you look back at the combine, Andrew Luck's numbers were the same as Cam Newton's. But he was a pocket passer that ran to throw. Pat Mahomes is not a runner.
Right.
Pat Mahomes is a scrambler who's looking downfield, and nobody's leaving their guy because he can throw it 80 fucking yards down there, and it's a touchdown. So he gets 20-yard runs. But I think Pat, my interview with Pat down at Lubbock was amazing. I thought Peyton was the smartest guy until I met Andrew, and then I met Pat, and we put up some plays on the board. We go out, this 35-mile-an-hour wind, he's just winging it through there. And I'm the weak safety, it's man protection. He makes the call. Okay, about 5 more balls. All right, slide protection, here comes the strong side. He makes the call that we had in the meeting 2 hours before. I said, I look at Byron goes, man, I've had dudes couldn't do this in 3 years. He did it in 2 hours. Wow. The skill set's amazing, but Pat's brilliant.
He is so brilliant and so fun to watch. What is your take on officiating right now in the NFL with the current state of affairs?
I think it's getting worse. We had a chance to go full-time. They need to be full-time.
Yeah.
There's no other billion-dollar industry that depends on part-time employees.
Good point.
All right. When we had the strike, they struck. They were just about ready to break that union and go full-time. And they had the debacle in Seattle on the Hail Mary where they blew the call, and we got to get the refs back. They're running the game. Then we finally get to some full-time guys. You know, in the last few years, the trend started to make them full-time. Mm-hmm. But to me, it's like, we can pay them enough to give up their other job. If they don't want to give up their other job, get out.
Right.
Go coach, go ref college.
Yep.
We want all professional people. They're at spring practice. They're at training camp. They don't call those teams games because they know too much about them, but they're there watching and training their eyes.
Yep.
And they're in shape. And it's got to be the future. We cannot live with part-time people in $1 billion industry blowing calls. And I didn't like instant replay at first. Then I say, we have to have this. Mm-hmm. We have to have this for those
accountability,
for those games that guys blow a call. Mm-hmm. Either way, just fix it. You know, I think of that Rams-Saints game, and that was the worst pass interference non-call I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. So that's when we all started the big meeting at the owners' meetings of how are we going to fix this? Because we can never let this happen again. Then we start betting on the games.
Oof.
Dude, you're putting people's lives at risk.
You are.
You all right?
Yeah.
So let's get it right. Let's get it. That's the main thing. Let's get it right.
Get it right. How much, when you're prepping for a game during the week, how much time goes into scouting the refs that are going to be calling that game? And how do you have those conversations with players in terms of this is what they like to call?
I assign a coach to that job. Mm-hmm. All right. You work with, I'll send in the plays that we disagree on and everything, and they come back with my bad, and you move on. But his job is to deal with them, and then to give the scouting report every Friday of who's calling the game, how they call it, and put up all the penalties that they've called. Mm-hmm. So this week, DBs, you can't touch them. These guys are going to flag you. Next week, you can throw them on the ground. They ain't calling shit. Mm-hmm. All right, the inconsistency
of
refereeing is what bugs me. Mm-hmm. All right, there's some refs. That's foul.
Yep.
Roughing the passer. The next thing you know, Ben's coming out, his nose is sitting over here,
crooked,
blood all over the place.
Blood everywhere.
No call.
Yeah.
All right. I look at her.
Like, call it the same
You think he punched himself in the face?
Right. Where do you think that came from?
That's your job, just to watch him. Now, I'm not going to mention that guy's name, but so yeah, I mean the inconsistency. But yeah, and our players, they bought in. Mm-hmm. They bought in. You know, offensive linemen, dude, you can't get on the sides. This cat's going to throw a flag every time. If you even see him falling, throw your hands down. Because every time they see a defensive lineman fall, hold him. You know, yeah, don't get me started.
Well, I had to get you started a little bit. All right, when you look at the current NFL, what do you think is the best division in football at the moment?
Well, that's a good one. It's going to have to be the NFC East or the AFC West. The Eagles are there. Cowboys are the Cowboys. I mean, they're all good. I mean, then those quarterbacks in the AFC West, the Mahomes, Herbert, Russ. I mean,
gosh, they're so fun to watch.
They're all so good. You know, I don't know who's going to come out of that gang fight, but
yeah. Well, now you got Garoppolo in Vegas.
Yeah,
that'll be interesting.
Jimmy beat us. I'm a Jimmy fan.
Yeah,
you know, he beat us on Monday Night Football to open the season. Well, we missed a field goal to win the game.
Yeah.
But no, I think, you know, the other surprise team, I love what the Lions are doing. You know, Dan Campbell, he reminds me a lot of Bill Cowher. Mm-hmm. You know, gets after it hard, but loves his players, you know. Yeah. And the guys that I know and work for him love him. So I think the Lions have something going. And I'm a Jared Goff fan. As a
sleeper in that division?
I'm a Jared Goff fan.
Yeah, what do you like most about Jared Goff?
Well, we played the Rams, and we're up 58-20 something. Next thing I know, it's 55-47 or something. And he's just lighting us up, you know. And somehow we still win that game. Oh, yeah, Ndamukong Suh gets a sack fumble.
Ndamukong Suh.
But yeah, I mean, we hit him, we did everything, and he just kept lighting us up, you know. And it's just, there's got to be a reason you're the number one pick, you know. And he has it all. He has just enough mobility, but he's accurate, he's tough, he's smart. If you're tough, you're smart, you got a chance.
Yeah. Well, that's going to do it for the No Risk It, No Biscuit podcast for this week. Coach, great to see you.
You too.